Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of LARP and Cosplay. We're doing something kind of fun today because we're coming up on one of my favorite times of the year. It is about to be Dragon Con time. Now, Dragon Con is one of the biggest sci-fi anime conventions that happens any year, anywhere. Happens in Atlanta every year, right around Labor Day weekend, as a matter of fact. So I wanted to show you a couple things about what we bring to cons. My family, we usually drive, so there's a lot of room to pack a whole bunch of stuff, but give you a couple ideas of what to bring, what to expect, and how to pack for these kind of things. So here we go, some great stuff to bring to your con. A couple things to keep in mind when we're doing this, because like I said, if it's one of your first cons, you may not know what to grab and bring. There's all your usual mundane stuff. Pack some clothes to bring with you for the days. You may not be in a costume every single day of the con, especially if your first one that you're going to. A couple great things to bring once you've got all the basics down. Snag a chair if you're going to be going to a con that's got some major lines. A lightweight folding chair or camp chair is a great thing to have. Bring some games if you're going to be meeting up with friends. Of course, if you already have your costumes ready, by all means, bring armor, bring costumes, bring weapons and walking sticks, bring maces and axes and hammers and TIE fighter wings and all these awesome things that you put together over the years. A great way to save a ton of cost when you're going to cons is to bring just a little bit of your own supplies. Having some drinks set aside, having a bunch of bottles of water is a great thing to do. If you can buy a case of them instead of buying them by the dollar for vendors and things like that when you're at the con, that's money you're saving to buy cool props and costume pieces for when you go the next year. If you're walking around, you're wandering around constantly, you're going to run into that munchies pretty often. I cannot tell you how many times part of my cosplay has been a bag full of food. But give yourself just a little bit of room in the car. One of the great things about these cons is it's a mecca for people that love the same things you do. We're talking about crafters and vendors, cosplayers, artists, and you're probably going to come home with a little bit more stuff than you left. Granted, you might eat a hole in your supplies to make room for whatever prop you buy while you're there, but just keep in mind, give yourself a little bit of space if you can manage it so you can bring home some really cool stuff from the con. Let's get everything loaded. When you're packing the car, a couple things to keep in mind. Pack with the heavy stuff and the hard stuff on the bottom, and when you're thinking of it in terms of driving, I like to load the snacks close to the front of the car because I'm not going to make it the whole drive without actually wanting to eat some of the snacks that are in the car. Your heavy bags next, big bags of clothes, stuff that's inherently kind of rigid and heavy that you don't want piled on top of your props that's going to break something. It also makes a really good base for stacking the rest of your gear. Most of the time, my kids can pack in one bag, and the rest of it's costumes anyway, because a princess doesn't want to wear a princess dress. I'm one of those that typically will pack in more than one bag, especially if I'm bringing more than one costume. Not because it makes it more efficient or anything. Once I get to the room, it's real easy to say, all right, well, this is my warrior. I don't know if it's necessarily good advice when you're packing for a con, but based on past experience, if you happen to be traveling down the highway on a random busy holiday weekend with a car full of people and small children and an armload of medieval weapons in the back seat, sometimes it's worthwhile to throw a blanket over it just so you don't get asked any weird questions in the random event that you might get pulled over. Not that I know that from experience, ever. Alright guys, so we got the car packed, we're ready to head to Dragon Con. If you've got any questions about what you can do at Dragon Con, what you want to see or what you want us to find, we're going to have a chance to do some filming while we're there at the con. If you happen to run into me or anything like that, feel free to flag me down. Say, hey, I'd love to talk about some of the content we've got on the show and show you some of the props. I'll probably be wearing them, carrying them around, or walking around with the people that have my props and creations too. If you come across the Barbarian or perhaps a TIE fighter soaring through one of the convention centers, I happen to have a pretty exceptional TIE interceptor as a wingman. Feel free to flag us down. Like, share, and subscribe to the video. Let us know what you want to see more of. Add some stuff in the comments. I'll be glad to respond back to you guys. Here we go. We're headed to Dragon Con.